Mini episode 271 of the FDH Lounge is brought to you by Sportsology, delivering unconventional columns and webcasts about sports, TV, music, movies, and more. Follow them on the web at sportsology.info.
The FDH Lounge. You'll want to schedule your life around it.
A long time ago, on a gloomy, wet Cleveland spring night, two men stand alone amidst the late-night drizzle. Their voices echo across the vacant station parking lot as they debate the merits of the great American radio show that have been missing for far too long. On that night, an idea was born. That idea became the FDH Lounge. Welcome to the FDH Lounge.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to FDH Lounge, mini episode number 271. This is FDH managing partner Rick Morris. A true pleasure to be able to bring on the show one of the most successful rock singers of all time, again, from his days fronting Foreigner, and then a great solo career as well following that. One of the greatest rock vocalists of all time. It's a pleasure to welcome to the FDH Lounge, Lou Gramm. Lou, this is Rick Morris. Tremendous pleasure to have you on the show. How are you today, sir?
Fine. Good to be here, Rick.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on. I thought this book was absolutely tremendous. I appreciate you and your people sending it out here and giving me a chance to get familiar with it. And I was not surprised to see in there, when I was looking for some of the nuggets about the formative days of the band. I am based out of Cleveland, Ohio, and frequently when we're having conversations of this nature with some of our past guests, whether it be members of Journey or anybody else, the letters WMMS tend to come up, as they were instrumental in breaking a lot of backs there. And I saw your shout-out to Kid Leo in there, and that doesn't surprise me at all.
Absolutely. And he was everything we thought he'd be.
Yeah.
He was
quite a character.
A wild and crazy guy.
Yeah, went on to work in the biz as an executive subsequently, but some real glory days out in these parts here as a DJ, and that had to be very important in the formative days of Foreigner, when you guys were really breaking big there in the late 70s. You also mentioned some folks from some other markets there, but I think that's a very useful thing for you to have brought out in the book, because the music business is so different these days. A lot of people might not fully understand what these regional kind of power broker DJs were able to do in the different markets by getting you guys out there.
Yeah, they were truly instrumental in breaking us. This is, I'm not talking about the days of Cadillacs and payola. I'm just talking about DJs who recognized good rock, and we had a relationship with them in terms of doing interviews when we came into town and making sure that they enjoyed themselves at our show. But it truly was music based.
Absolutely, yeah. The help of those kind of tastemakers, I can see where that would be very, very important for you. Not to jump ahead too much, but basically the period of time leading up to Foreigner, just prior to that, I guess you would say, was the heyday of the Steve Miller Band, and of course you ended up touring with them years later during your solo efforts. And I have to say, of all the folks we've had on the show here, and a lot that I've wanted to see, John Oates, Steve Perry, etc., you're the first musical guest we've had that I've actually seen in concert. I'm a big Steve Miller guy. I caught you in 1990 when you were backing him up then, and really enjoyed your solo show. And I was wondering, the fact that the Steve Miller Band really kind of peaked, had their biggest days just before Foreigner, did that kind of open you up to a little bit of a new audience when you were touring in support of them there? I got to think it was probably an older crowd, and maybe some folks that weren't as up on the contemporary music of Foreigner and Lou Gramm.
You're totally right, and it was interesting because when we'd take the stage, a lot of times the audience area would be 2/3 full. There'd be empty seats as people were still coming in, and I was a little shocked, expecting to see more long-haired hippie types, if I could say that, and it was more middle-aged businessmen and their families, but I've got to tell you, once the music started, they were as crazy as anybody I'd seen.
That's how I remember. Yeah, I caught the show at Blossom Music Center that summer, and that's exactly how I remember it being. I remember it being a good reception, and that it seemed to get over very well with the crowd. And it's always just interesting to see, how it does with folks from different generations. But again, certainly, to folks like me, when we were growing up, obviously Foreigner was pretty big, one of the biggest acts of the generation there. So. The book I thought was very interesting as far as talking about, and I thought you did a great job of keeping it from lapsing into cliche as far as some of the pitfalls of the road and some of the temptations with drugs and alcohol and everything like that. But why don't you spell it out for the listeners here on just what that journey was like and how it did eventually catch up with you towards the latter part of Foreigner hitting it big.
Well, it was as exciting as one could ever imagine it would be. It's like to perform your music in front of packed houses and know that people are there to see and hear you and to feel the adulation as you play hit after hit. I mean, as far as a musician or someone creative in the music business, it couldn't have been any better. The downside was, the bus tours would be going on for over a year. You know, every now and then you'd get home for 2 days, just enough time to do your laundry, say hi and goodbye to the wife and the kids, and you're back out on the road again. And after a while, not that you come to expect the adulation, but I would find myself singing the songs and the crowds reacting, and my mind wandering someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd still be singing with everything I had, and still be very aware of what was going on around me. But as the song was being played, my mind would wander to my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd be missing them so much that I'd be mentally missing them and thinking about them while I was on stage, rocking out and stuff. And I think it was guilt and the inability to do anything about it that fed my addictions.
Well, that's a very good encapsulation of what I was talking about. I think, Lou, with the spin that you put on this thing, and a really kind of fresh take, because I think that, and you've probably heard this in the reception to your book that you've gotten from people. That's something that we really, those of us in the public, wouldn't tend to think, that the grass is greener. You've got everyone in the audience, they're going home to their kids that night, if they're old enough, or if their kids are going home, to their family. And that's something you didn't have, and we really would never think, any of us in the audience, that the grass is greener in terms of, from your perspective, that we're getting to share family time. And again, I have to imagine that that's a take that's really surprising a lot of people, because the public just isn't conditioned to think of it that way.
No, there's too much romanticism and other adventure that seem to take the spotlight from that.
Yeah, that's how people always tend to see it, and I thought that part of it was very interesting in your telling of it, and then subsequently your recounting of the health issues. And I remember at the time that it was a little bit of a question publicly. It took a while, I think, for the news to get out completely on what was happening there, but there was a lot of great concern about your health. Turned out to be a brain tumor. So walk us through some of the things from the book. I thought that you talking about that was very touching in the way that you brought it to the fore as you were recounting it in the book.
Well, I had been clean and sober for about 3 or 4 years, and actually more like 5 years, and suddenly I started waking up in the morning with headaches that would make my hangovers look puny, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And periodically my eyes would cross, and I would take an effort to uncross them. I'd be trying to. I'd go to call like my mom and dad and get through the first 3 digits and can't remember the last 4. And they've had the same phone number for almost 30 years. It was things like that made me, you know, it was frustrating. At first I laughed it off, but when it continued, it was a concern, and finally to the point where I was extremely worried and had to know what was going on, you know.
Yeah, that's got to be very frightening. Sure, that had to be a thought right there, Lou. That it could very well be a brain tumor, right? That's a standard kind of fear that everybody has, and in your case, it turned out to be right.
Yep. I honestly didn't think brain tumor. I thought I wasn't sure what I thought, but obviously my doctor immediately had me have an MRI, and the results proved to be just that, a large egg-sized tumor with tentacle like appendages that were wrapped around my optic nerve and my pituitary.
Yeah, and I thought that, again, when you were going through and you were talking about that, I was very, very much impressed when you were talking about how your faith, which had kind of come back to the forefront of your life in the couple of years before that, ultimately helped sustain and get you through that. And as a fellow lifelong Roman Catholic myself, you know, I take my hat off to you in that, because that's one heck of a test to go through. But that is a part of the book I would think and I would hope that people would take a lot of inspiration from, because there's probably not too many graver things that you can go through and be able to hang on that to help get you through and give you the kind of strength. And, you know, that's the kind of example I think you set for people right there.
Well, it certainly wasn't anything planned or that I was keeping a stiff upper lip about or anything. I was deep in prayer and just asked for God's will to be done, you know.
Mhm. That's all you can do ultimately, and you know, hope that your recovery is in the big plan. And fortunately, that was the case with you. And as I say, as I want to take my hat off to you for that. Subsequently, the Christian rock music that you have been generating, you talked about it in the book there, and that people would wonder, you know, possibly, you know, what your decision was to do that. Possibly, maybe some crueler folks even kind of juxtaposing that with the brain tumor issue. But I thought, again, it was a move of great character to be able to do that and put that out there and talk about your faith in that form, really in the artistic way that you're best known for, singing on stage. So please walk us through a little bit of that with your thought process about going in that direction a little bit.
You know, given my fight with drugs and alcohol, which mercifully I was able to achieve sobriety, and it's been 22 years now. You know, and my problems with the brain tumor, I just, you know, feeling that I've come out the other side and I'm still okay. You know, I just felt like I wanted to use my God-given talent to praise God musically, and you know, my way wouldn't be a hymnal or anything. It would be rock music, like I'm known for, and feel the most comfortable in. And I started putting ideas basic ideas down for songs, and some of the guys I was playing with in my band worked with me on that, and it took about almost 2 years to complete the process of writing and recording. We did it piecemeal. As we'd write a song, we'd record it, and there obviously wasn't a label in the world that would touch it. Surprisingly enough, we found a small independent label that we reached an agreement with, and the record was cut and produced. Obviously, it's a strange thing because I think Christian radio, when they see a non-Christian artist suddenly cut a Christian record, they're a little suspicious. Mm-hmm. for one reason or another. Now there's many Christian artists that cross over to mainstream, and nobody thinks twice about it. But if a mainstream artist, especially one that has had a lot of success, crosses over to the Christian market, it's looked on with a microscope. And
that's a great point.
So we didn't make a big splash on the Christian market. Matter of fact, got very little airplay, and then when mainstream radio found out that it was me with a Christian album, likewise, it was not received with open arms. So there honestly there's probably quite a few people that didn't even know that I put out that album, and it's a shame, but it is what it is, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, those are some great points because in the year 2013, it's kind of weird to think that we're still dealing with this, where there would be the kind of walls of suspicion on either side. And as you point out, I mean, you didn't mention any names, but the first ones that come to my mind would be Whitney Houston, Amy Grant. There have been a lot that have crossed over the one way, and in a way, I think in the years ahead, you might stand as kind of a case study for this thing here, and maybe things will change at some point. But it really is an interesting kind of conundrum here that you can't really go both ways in that and be taken seriously by both communities. That's kind of sad, but I guess we could hope for that to change at some point. Huh, Lou?
Yeah, it seems like crossing over into the mainstream, it's an open door, but going from the mainstream, especially with my success, over to Christian radio, it's like a closed club,
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
Exclusive club,
Yeah. I don't really understand that because I see some corners of the Christian community that understand outreach.
What they stand for,
Yeah. I don't get it. That really kind of goes against a lot of the precepts of outreach and. Who could be somebody that could be a more powerful example than you for everything you've gone through. But in terms of difficult topics in the book, there was one that kind of ran throughout and that you addressed more so as you were catching up to the most recent years, and that being the matter of getting back together with Foreigner, which I know it's been kind of on and off over the years. But it's one of those things where when I read it, I could kind of understand because I've been through. I've had some times where you have to separate from working with somebody, and other people might not understand it. But as far as the fact that the question keeps getting posed to you, do you get the sense that somebody has to have sort of been through a similar type experience in their life to say, "I'm sorry, but that's a door that's been shut"?
Yeah, I think so. It's not that there haven't been, there have been a few times when we've parted company and then put it back together again, I'm not a person that will never say never, but it's a little late in the game to start getting excited about anything like that. I don't even know if working with him would mean anything to anybody, you know. I mean, if we got back together and did an album, would anyone even notice in the state radios in now?
Well, that's a very good question, given that, again, they've done what Journey did and went for just the sound-alike route there. So you can go to a quote-unquote foreigner concert if those guys are touring and hear somebody that sounds like Lou Gramm. So that's a very interesting point. That would probably tell a lot about, like you said, the state of the market in the year 2013. Are people content to just get the replica of the original, or would there still be enough of an interest in the original? My sense is that it would probably turn some heads if you guys got back together, but that would be a very interesting question if it ever got answered.
You know, Rick, I think that periodically, every number of years, there's a turnover in live audience concert goers, and I honestly think that it's to the point now where maybe when Foreigner plays out at a casino or a concert venue, that maybe 70 to 80% of the audience doesn't know if there's any original members or not, and doesn't care if the songs sound pretty good. They're pleased enough not to worry about if it's the right singer or the right drummer or anything, you know. They're there to have fun, and why ask the question, you know?
Well, in terms of that, and in terms of audiences and turnover and all of that, I'm thinking back to something that was said on our program a couple months ago, and one of my fellow cast members on the show, we had a little roundtable discussion. We're talking about music, and he said, my 14-year-old daughter, he said, you wouldn't believe this, the stuff that's on her iPod. She's even into, like, Donovan, and he's mentioning stuff, and what kids are able to get into these days and what they're able to discover. Do you ever find that when you're in concert, people there, they're like, wait a minute, there's no way that guy was alive when we were in our heyday or whatever. But do you find yourself having that happen? That's a very interesting phenomenon to me, people discovering something well after, the peak of when it was out.
You know that, and a lot of them are singing along.
Wow.
You know, while we're
make you feel really good.
They're singing along, you know?
Well, that kind of answers the question as to how timeless it really is then, huh? That must really make you feel great.
It definitely does. But you know, like I said, if it's a band that calls themselves Foreigner and really has nobody from the original Foreigner, including Mick, in it, and they work twice as much as I do for twice as much money, there's a little bit of
it's a little fraudulent. Maybe that's harsher than a word you're looking for, but it kind of is, isn't it? I mean, if we're going to go down to the essence of the word, because we're essentially talking about a glorified cover band if it doesn't have Lou Gramm.
That's correct, or Mick Jones, right?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you two guys.
He put that band. He put that band together and called it Foreigner, but his health was bad, and he hasn't even played with them in the last year and a half.
That's outrageous. Yeah, you can't have Foreigner without, I'd say, one of you guys, certainly without both of you guys. And yeah, that really is kind of a sad commentary on the business these days. But again, I think, if we're looking for a much better note, again, this book, Jukebox Hero, My 5 Decades in Rock and Roll, again, I think is something that really uplifts people and really is a great recounting of your years all the way through your career, before Foreigner, all the way through. And Lou, we always like to give our guests a chance to plug. If there's anything we didn't hit sufficiently from the book or anything else you'd like to talk about, please, sir, take it away.
I think we covered a lot of ground. Definitely all the important points.
Excellent. Well, greatly enjoyed the discussion, sir, and love to have you back on the program anytime.
That would be great. I'd love to come back.
Oh, wonderful. I truly appreciated it, and I think the audience really has eaten this up as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. The great Lou Gramm, everybody, and we appreciate you all being with us today for FDH Lounge mini episode number 271.
As we bring the show to a close, we would like to extend our deepest gratitude to NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, all Clear Channel affiliates, TNT, TBS, USA, UPN, Deadspin.com, YouTube.com, YTMND.com, MySpace.com, various blogs, Fox News, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, IamBoard.com, Billboard.com, Google.com, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPN Classic, NBA TV, NFL Network, Sports Time Ohio, Athlon Magazine, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network, The Boomerang Channel, QVC, BET, The Spice Channel, Steno Notebooks, Manwich, Papermate Office Supplies, waitresses, strippers, bartenders, garbage men, janitors, microwave popcorn, the writers of The Office, Scrubs, Entourage, My Name is Earl, Oz, Metalocalypse and the Boondocks, Aquafina, and the periodic table of elements.